Hi, this is Jerry Bembry from the Buffalo Wild Wings in Owings Mills, here with Mike Preston, the NFL writer with the Baltimore Sun, talking Ravens playoffs. Now, Mike, the Ravens go into Foxborough this weekend, fresh over their win over Houston last weekend. The last time the Ravens played the Patriots in the postseason, they won 33-14 2 years ago. Does that give the Ravens any type of edge going into this weekend?
Yes, it does, because New England is tough to beat at home. So they went in, they established themselves. They established the running game. Basically that was the first or second year under Harbaugh where they said, hey, we can actually come into this place. We can beat these guys. Now, does that transpire or transfer into some type of victory? No.
A couple of weeks ago, you caught a lot of heat for criticizing both Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. Now, this week, Ed Reed comes out there and criticizes his quarterback, Joe Flacco. What do you think was behind Ed Reed stepping out and coming out with some very verbal criticism of his quarterback?
It's crunch time. It's that time you step up. You watched that game last week, and Joe Flacco didn't just play poorly. The whole offense played poorly. But, if you play the Patriots, you're going to have to match Brady. Okay, so Ed basically said, hey, Joe, you can't be rattled this week, son. You got to step up and make plays. You can't play like you did last week, or we're going to go home early. So I'll say this to you, and hopefully it ticks you off. Step up your game. I liked what he did. And one of the reasons why I like what he did, because I did that to his butt the week before. That's what makes it even much more fun.
Now, you mentioned that Flacco has to step in and match Brady. Now, the last time they won in Foxborough, Flacco only completed 4 passes in that game. I mean, can they get away with that kind of performance this weekend and win?
No. But what you have to do is be careful. You don't go in and say, it's going to be a shootout. We have to match him. No, you go establish the run first and say, okay, we can run the ball, and then we go to the play action. But if it doesn't work, you still have a quarterback who's strong-armed enough. You still have enough receivers that can put points on the board that can play with these guys a little bit. That's what you look at. That's how they have to approach it. But a lot of pressure this week, a lot of coaches, very tight butts over there at the Castle this week.
We talk about Flacco with as much heat as he gets. If he wins on Sunday, he'll be the first quarterback in 4 years to win 50 games. If he wins on Sunday, it would tie him with Tom Brady for the most playoff wins by a quarterback in his first 4 seasons. So do you think that he is the real key to this game?
I wouldn't say he's the real key, but I think he is a key. And people like to point out, he's won all of these games. Kyle Bowler won a lot of games. Okay, he did. But do you win the big games? When you go against Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Brady, do you beat those guys? Because that's how you have to get to the Super Bowl. You can beat the rest of these Joe Blows in the league. That's fine. But when you get to this point, beat the big boys. And they've been fortunate they haven't played any of the big boys this offseason. Well, now they get the biggest boy of them all this weekend. Joe, step your game up. If you want to be considered even outside of that elite class, this is your time.
Now, let's take a quick look at the NFC Championship game. The New York Giants, with their win over the Green Bay Packers last weekend, traveled to San Francisco against the 49ers. The Giants sure seem like they're peaking at the right time right now.
When you can run the ball, stop the run, and get pressure with your front four, that's the formula for success. If you go back and look at Green Bay last year, they just barely made the playoffs. And then they get in and they started peaking. Well, we're seeing the same thing again with the Giants. Eli Manning, who is unfairly criticized most of the time, he's a good quarterback. He's playing well. I think they win that game. In San Francisco, they're playing well. As a matter of fact, of all the 4 teams left, 3 of the 4 seem to be peaking at the same time. There's only one that doesn't seem to be peaking. That's the Ravens.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about your prediction. So you say you think the Giants are going to go beat the 49ers. What is your prediction for the Ravens-Patriots game this weekend?
I think the Ravens will win. Now, that's going to surprise you, but in November, I think it was November, when they beat the Jets, I said the Ravens were the best team in the AFC. So I can't back off of that. I will not back off of that because they are the team with the least amount of weaknesses. They're probably the most balanced team in the postseason. So they have no fear of New England. I kind of like how they've been low profile this week. They're not talking very much. So, I love Brady Ray. I love Brady Bill Belichick. But they hate those guys.
Terrell Suggs said he had respect for Brady this week.
They despise each other. And so when it comes around, it's kind of fun to see the sportsmanship and the jockeying around. But when it comes to Sunday, I think the Ravens, they're in a great position to do what they need to do. One, they're playing on the road, but they're playing a quality team, and they play well against quality teams on the road. You got that high-powered offense of New England. You got the Ravens' high-powered defense, so that's personal. Oh, man, we're going to take these guys on. And they stunk last week against Houston. They won, but they stunk. When you go out and you perform like that, you got to come back. You got to come back and show you got some heart. You don't leave your heart at M&T Bank. You take it to Gillette. That's what will get them through.
From the Buffalo Wild Wings in Owings Mills, that's Mike Preston, columnist with the Baltimore Sun, who also happens to be the Maryland Sports Writer of the Year. And I'm Jerry Bembry for 88.1 WYPR, your NPR news station.